Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today we're going to talk about how to cut ceramic tiles. If you're doing a backsplash or if you're doing any kind of tile work, whether it's a bathroom, a kitchen, the floors, whatever, at some point you're going to need to cut tiles to make them fit where you need them to go. So I'm going to bring you inside. I'm going to show you a project that I'm working on and what I need to do to cut a tile to make it fit properly, but I just want to explain to you what you're going to need to do that. There's a couple of different ways. You can go and you can get yourself what's called a wet saw. It actually has water in it. It has a blade that actually rotates and it cuts the tile for a perfectly straight cut. But if you're doing small cuts and you don't need a wet saw, you could pick up a small tile cutter. It's a hand-operated unit. You can pick them up in just about any store. You can actually take a look at my Amazon store below, and you can see it in my Amazon store as well. This particular tile cutter I've had for a while, so I'm not pushing one tile cutter over another, but this is the one that I happen to use for smaller projects. It works really well. I'm going to show you where I need to cut the tile, the dimensions I'm going to need, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut the tile, and I'll show you exactly how to do it so that you have a perfect cut. What you want to do is when you cut a tile, you want to make sure, you know what, let's go inside and I'll explain to you inside where I'm going to cut it. Come on, take a walk. Okay, this is the tile that I need to cut right inside here to fit in that spot right there. So what we know, I know I measured this already, is 1 7/8, and it's up around 2 inches up underneath the hood right here. So I know I need to have the tile is going to be 2 inches this way, and it's going to be 1 7/8 this direction here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure we don't cut the tile where the clean end is here. We're going to make sure we do our cut on this side, and we're going to do our cut up on this side where it's not really going to be seen. All right, so let's go in the garage. We're going to mark it out, and then we're going to make that cut, and I'll show you how easy it is. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to mark a tile. A tile itself is actually, when you try to mark it with a pencil, sometimes it doesn't really stay very well. It wipes away very easily. But you can use a marker, and a marker stays a little bit better, and then you just use a damp paper towel or something, and you can wipe it right off. All right, so now what we know is we need it 2 inches high, and we need it 1 7/8 inches wide. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here, we're going to take our tile right here, we're going to mark it 1 7/8, and we're going to mark it 2 inches. We're just going to draw a straight line, not that it matters. You can use anything to draw a straight line, of course. And then this is how I want to cut the tile. I want to cut it out here and here. This end here is not going to be cut because this is going to touch up against another tile. And this end over here is not going to be cut because that's going to be touching up against another tile. The end we want to cut is the end that's going to be hidden in the cabinet here and behind the hood up here. All right, so let's cut that tile, and I'll show you how that actually works as well. Okay, so this is how a tile cutter works. Obviously, down on the bottom, underneath here, you have the unit that cuts or the wheel that cuts the tile itself. And this centerpiece is raised up right here because that's what you're going to use to snap the tile. Now, when you look at the tile cutter itself down on the bottom, right here, you see these little pieces that come down? That's what's going to be used to snap the tile. All right, so let's do this real slow, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take our handle, lift it up, put our tile in here the way we want to cut it. We're going to bring this down here so that's touching just like that. Hope you can see okay. Let's get you a little closer maybe. Okay. Hold the tile up against a stopper right here. You take your tool and you push very lightly. It's like a glass cutter. And you just strike it a couple of times, just like that. You don't have to go too deep. You just score it a couple of times. Then you hold your tile straight, you put your tool on it like this, and you push down, and that'll snap the tile. And as you can see, it snaps the tile right off right here. But now we need to cut this one right here as well. So we're going to take this now and we're going to put it back in here like this. We're going to bring our tool down onto the line. Again, you push it up against the stop in the back right here. Hold it with your finger and you strike it 2 or 3 times. And you're just really putting a slight little cut into the tile itself. Let me show you first. You see, you're just putting a slight little strike across the top of the tile right there. And then we just take it, put the tile cutter on here like this, keep our wheel off so it's not touching anything, and just give it a little bit of a push. It just cuts it right off nice and clean along the line. All right, so let's go inside now. Let's wipe this off here. This cleans off very easily. You just use a rag, a damp rag, and it cleans it right off. Just like this, you just wipe it off like that, and it cleans it right off. Okay. All right, let's go inside and let's see if it fits. Okay, let me show you one more time how to cut the tile, just in case you didn't catch it so good the other time. All right, what we'll do is we'll take our tile and we'll put our marks where we want to cut it. All right, so we have our marks on it now. We're going to bring it over into our cutter, lift the blade up, put it in here so it's touching up against the back right here. Then you bring down the cutting wheel till it touches into the tile, and then you just run it a couple times, 2 or 3 times is usually enough. Just like that. And then you bring your tile cutter off. You put these two feet right up on here and push. And it snaps the tile right where you needed it to be cut. Like that. And then we would cut it on this other spot right here. Just lift it up. You want to make sure that there's no foreign matter laying up on top here as well. Put it in here. Put our tool on it. And just strike it. Again, 2 or 3 times. Just to put a mark in it. And then you push. And it snaps the tile right off. So that you have a perfect cut here. And you have a perfect cut here. And that's how that tile cutter works. Okay. All right, so this is our tile now. Let's take it and put it up in here so we can see it fits right in here like this and like this. Now, obviously, it's going to go just like that. We are going to put our mastic on there, of course, to hold the tile in place, and we'll put it back in there. All right, but you want to make sure that the cut end is always on the side where it's not touching up against another tile, which will be against the cabinet right here, and up there it's hidden behind the hood itself. Okay? Okay, and that's how you would cut the tile. Now, if it wasn't cut properly, you can go in and cut it again. So that's always a possibility, but you won't be able to make little tiny cuts, such as a small little cut like that. You won't be able to do it. That's when a wet saw comes in handy. Okay, it is inevitable that at some point, whenever you're doing a tiling job, you may not be able to get by with just making a straight cut to cut the tile off like here. You may not be able to make a straight line. You may need to cut something like this at an angle, to cut something out to fit around something, an outlet or whatever. And if you need to make these cuts, then that saw with the just the hand-operated saw, the manual one, will not work for you. With this kind of a cut, you will need a wet saw to make these cuts inside there, or they make another tool that you can use. It's called a nibbler. We can get in there and we can actually chip away at the tile and cut it out. So let me grab the tool, and I'm going to show you how that tool works too. Okay, now that tool, it's a hand-operated tool like this. The key with this tool here is when you're actually cutting this tile here to cut out a section of it, you don't want to take big chunks out like that. If you take a big chunk out like that, it's going to crack all the way across. But if you take out small pieces, you can take the tile down to what you need. All right, I will tell you this, make sure you wear eye protection because sometimes these pieces do go flying around. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to come in here like this. And we're going to do, I hope you can see, let me zoom you in so you can watch what I'm doing closer. Okay, so what you do now is you take your pliers like this, or your nibblers, to chew away at the tile, and you just take small little pieces out at a time. You don't want to go big chunks, because if you take a big chunk out, you're going to wind up cracking the tile across. So we just come in here just like this here, and we just take off little pieces at a time, just like that. Okay, so as you can see with the nibbler, it does take a while to get in there. Now I am going to chip away a little bit more at this here, but at this point you want to be really, really careful, because you can crack that tile very easily. Okay, but that's pretty much how you can do it, using the small nibblers to get in there and make those cuts. Now obviously you can get in here with that stone, and you can clean this up a little bit so that you can have a nice straight even corner here as well. The stone, it's just it's similar to the stone you would use when you sharpen a knife, and you can clean it up like that. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's how you would use the nibbler. Make sure you use safety glasses when you're working on this, because all of these little fragments that you cut off, they will go flying around. All right, so that's another alternative. You needed to cut out a small section of tile without using a wet saw. All right, so let's get inside. Let's finish this project, and let's wrap this job up and get it done. Okay, so as you can see, cutting tiles is really not that difficult. I will tell you this, with the tile that is a small tile cutter like this, you will not be able to make small little cuts. Like if you needed to cut off just a little bit more off of the tile itself, then this tool here will not work for you, and then you're better off with a wet saw, because a wet saw, you can make the small intricate cuts. This saw is only good, or this tile cutter is only good for larger cuts that are on here. Anything probably like 3/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch in size would work better. The small cuts like that will just be very jagged. All right, now with this saw, with this tile cutter, you do get a little bit of a jagged edge over here. It's not perfectly smooth. There's two ways you can remedy that. One, you can go and get a wet saw, or rent a wet saw if needed, and you'll get a perfectly smooth cut. They do sell a file that you can buy in the big box stores, that you can file down the tile here so that you can have a nice perfect cut. It's not actually, it's a file, it's more like a stone that you would actually rub it with to make it nice and smooth. All right, but that's it. So this job is really not as difficult as you think. Just strike it 3 or 4 times, even 2 or 3 times, just to put a groove in the glazed part of the tile itself. Now I will tell this to you as well. You always want to cut on the shiny side of the tile. You never want to do anything on the back of the tile. The tile in the back, you can't strike a straight line on there, because most of the time it's a little bit bumpy. So you'll want to make your strikes up on the front of the tile itself, on the glazed part of the tile, or the shiny part of the tile. All right, this job is going to get done. I'm going to put that tile in place, and the kitchen project will be finished. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.